Maggie Gyllenhaal turns 46 tomorrow. She is the only entity on the earth that was in both The Dark Knight and Donnie Darko, both about the darkened right eye. What a coincidence that her birthday is on the eve of 11/17, because she represents Eve, doesn't she? Born in the year 1977. 77 is Eve. The word Eve, E-V-E, is in the spelling of 7 and 11. When you multiply 7 times 11, or 711, you get 77. She's born in 1977 on the eve of 11/17. And there she is, turning 46 tomorrow. The only person in both Donnie Darko and The Dark Knight. And she was James Bond's Batman's love interest. He's the Black Adam. She's Eve. Now, the 11/17 thing could just be part of the rhythm and not actually meaning that the event's going to take place on 11/17. Let's go over some things. By the way, the transfer portal of time. Wow. Did we ever figure something out with the transfer portal of time? I am also gigantic on Wednesday. Y'all know how big I am on Wednesdays, being the event day, rising on Frigg. They're both married to each other in Norse mythology. Frigg, the only day named after a goddess. The rest are gods. Odin of the Norse mythology is Wednesday. But of course, Frigg, Friday, they were married to each other. So that would represent the going down and the rising, that union, the obelisk facing the dome. So lunar eclipse, gateway arch, portal 325. I have no idea what this is about. It says 77 and 911, 93311, which is 33 code, 311 code, along with 77 for Eve and 911. Let's take a look at whatever it is I'm trying to talk about here. All right, so Mr. Big's birthday is June 14th, 1946. To that lunar eclipse, which transfer portals over to another lunar eclipse. We just had, see, October 28th, transfer portals over to March 25th. There just happens to be lunar eclipses in 2023 and in 2024 on both. 2023, October 28th, 2024, March 25th. 77 years, 9 months, 11 days. That is a perfect day for his rising, which means he would go down on 3/23, or it's a perfect day for the event. However you want to slice it. That's a big deal. That's a big deal. Next. And what I would like to go ahead and do, let's just do this. Well, let's get rid of that. Why is that happening like that? Can I just not? Okay, there we go. Thank you. 12/16 is another high watch day because of the 121 and the 216 fusion. Let's punch it up. 11/3/2014. It's 3 days from that date. What in the world? By the way, and it's also 9116, which is 911, 911, 6, 911, 911. But the 6, it's also 116, which is upside down and backwards 911. The problem is I forget what this day was. It also has a 121 and an 18 in it. Why in the world was I looking all this up? 121 and an 18. All right, hang on. Let me go back and see if I remember what this date is. I think it was an eclipse, but I'm not sure. Good grief, I had to Google it. Y'all, it's when One World Trade Center officially opened. That's a big deal. The Twin Towers go down. What rises back up? One World Trade Tower. So you have to start running this date against everything. Well, when you run it against his rising day of 12/18, if he was to go down on 12/16 at the UFC event at T-Mobile Arena, he would go down on day 3331 from the One World Trade Center opening. But it's 333 day. It's 3333 days and 9116. That's gigantic for him going down on that day. Just based off that alone. And that's One World Trade Tower. That's a big tell. When you're looking for Blues Clues, the opening of One World Trade Tower is gigantic. Now, that's including both dates, by the way. Now, you know that we're looking at October 2nd's Ring of Fire eclipse as the potential abomination of desolation day. Potentially. If he's not going to go down until the end of winter or in March or in February. So the rising of One World Trade Tower represents his rising on the third day from the deadly wound, spiritual rising, and or slash the abomination of desolation. And that is 3621 days. You got the 1-1, you got the 18 in the months. It's interesting. 3621 days. 36, of course, triangular number is 666. Or the triangular number 4666. If you add 1 plus 2 plus 3 all the way up plus 36, the sum is 666. It's a big deal. All right. Moving on. Glad we established what the and how fitting that it opened on 11/3, which is 33, or the reverse of 3/11. Good grief, could these people be any more transparent? 333 code for rising day after 11/17 event. So let's say he does go down on 11/16 or 11/17. Well, if he goes down on 11/16, let's just say 30, it would be exactly 3300 days from One World Trade Tower. And his rising on the 18th would be 3302. But isn't it better if he goes down on 11/17 per the Bible verse, 3301 days? But then that puts the rising day on the 19th, doesn't it? So One World Trade Tower to the rising day of 11/19, 3303 days, or 333 days. So you see how this opening of One World Trade Tower, which represents the rising of the Antichrist, you see how you have 333 for our big event day of 11/17 rising on 11/19, or 3333 of the event day 12/16, but the rising on 12/18, again 121 fused with the number 18, 6 plus 6 plus 6. This is gigantic stuff, people. I can't even begin to tell you how big this is. But again, as usual, two-way goes. Super Bowl 58 Eve. We have 3386 code along with 1117 code. What's that for? The opening of One World Trade Tower. So the eve of the Super Bowl, literally 111 months and 7 days. In other words, he would be going down on Saturday, February 10th and rising. Then you would have the Super Bowl ritual. And then the following day after the Super Bowl, the days 3386. What's in the middle of that? 38. 3386. That would have him rising the day after the Super Bowl on February 12th. What was the release date of Groundhog Day? February 4th of premiere, and then February 12th. Literally on the release of Groundhog Day, he would be rising 3388 days. 3388 days. That's from One World Trade Tower opening. Gigantic stuff. I can't even begin to tell you how just gigantic that is. And all of this is. So how do you nail down a day? You can't. But what I'm showing you, if you're so inclined, is how to look for stuff. This is how you look for it. These are the Blues Clues. Twins to 1. 801 solar E to 1117. All right, let's take a look at whatever this is I'm drumming up here. All right, the actual 9/11 event to the actual rising of One World Trade Tower, 4801. Remember the total solar eclipse on 801, which happened to be when I saw The Dark Knight. I saw it on a Friday night, 2 weeks after it opened. It opened on the 18th. It was a total solar eclipse when I saw The Dark Knight. The day before I told my second wife I wanted a divorce. My first wedding day was 3 times 12 times 1983. Yes, it's got the 138 for Donald Trump and the 88 for Trump, both in simple gematria. The 38 sits right there for murder code. That's my first wedding day. Can't make it up. And I've shown you all the mathematical anomaly of me and my second wife. My number, which is 7 times 6 times 1961. And oh, by the way, 761 is the amount of verses combined in Daniel and Revelation. And oh, by the way, my first address when I was born was 404, the amount of verses in Revelation. Folks, you're at the right channel. You're at the right channel. You're at the right channel. When you track Twin Towers going down to the rising of One World Trade Tower, it is 4801 days. Okay. That's fantastic. Solar eclipse on August 1st. 586. Where? In 1117. I don't know why I'm saying that. Is there something else from? Yes. Okay. So we click the button from the total solar eclipse of when I saw The Dark Knight to 1117. Just a few days from now. 5586. You have the 86. Where's this 1117 at? Oh, because it's November 17th. All right. I get you. I got you. 586 on 1117. Okay. Got it. We're looking at that date. As big as any of them. First time whenever I was at the 117 address was 12/28/05. Second wife, that was her address. The Rising Bible Verse Day, 11/7. Six, 5, 4, 3 days to win. The full moon of the 27th. Let's keep our right eye on that. If you run it to 1117, 6533. If you run it to the rising day, which would bounce off of the address, that was our first date. So it is 17122. 1022 is when I met her. 214 in 22 days, 214 months. The 214, the 214th verse is the first time deadly wound is mentioned in Revelation, which corresponds to the right eye wound of Zechariah 11:17. This gets better. Stuff I ran into today was nuts. 666 equals February 2nd. Well, I'll be, you know what. When you key in February 2nd, which is Groundhog Day, did you know that you get the numbers 666 and the number 33 in Gematria? And Groundhog Day is day 33 of the year. You know what the chances are of that? Now you know what the movie Groundhog Day was about? When it says on the marquee, Heidi 2. And there was no Heidi 2, but the Heidi Bowl was the Raiders' right eye utterly darkened, and the Jets, which is what killed Donnie Darko, the jet engine, or which brought down the twin Trumps, the Jets. Fascinating. Yes, I see Barron Trump there and the number 28. There's all kind of stuff in Boston Celtics, December 18th. There's all kind of stuff. December 18th, again, a very big potential rising day, which we just went over. December 18th does correspond to February 2nd. That's big. August 10th also. Remember, text to Trump is 88022. I told you that that was all about August 2nd. (2008) to the divorce of February 2nd. You got the 802 of August 2nd. You got the 22 of February 2nd. Exactly half a year apart, August 2nd to February 2nd. I've been over that story 1,000 times. Well, this is the same numbers, but it's 22808. This would be my birth to the 12/16 date, 22808. That is gigantic. It's the same amount. It's the same numbers as text to Trump. It's just in a different order. 22808, text to Trump 88022. Gigantica. Gigantica. 12/16 is a sick date. We know he's going to be at the Colby Covington UFC 296. Condo collapse 886 to the full moon in Gemini. Do you know how big that is? That the condo collapse, which was at 88th Street, they just brought down the twins, is all they did in a reenactment. I'm sure they got everybody out of that building and brought it down. All paid. Some probably left in there to die. But a lot of people established. Mystery Babylonians. Who isn't a Mr. Babylonian? Seriously. How many people or AI listen to my channel, comment on my channel? How many real sheep are out there? that profess no free will. God doesn't love everybody. Hell is not eternal torment. God's declared the end from the beginning. Everything is said. Who the sheep and goats are set. Mystery Babylon runs the fake churches. You run that condo collapse to the exact opposite of when Trump was born. Trump was born Gemini sun, Sagittarian moon. It'll be a Sagittarian sun, Gemini moon on 9/27 from Daniel 9/27. November was once the 9th month, so it's November 27th is that full moon. From the condo collapse, it is 886 days. I'd like it better if it was 888. That would have him going down 886 days on the 25th. So this doesn't really tell the story like I would like it to, but it's still pretty fascinating. 186 hours on 11/22. Let's see what in the world this is about. No Time to Die. 2, a big date that I'm looking at. It's another Wednesday. It's 11/22. This is JFK's assassination date. And don't you know that I keyed in November 22nd and John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. came up in gematria? What are the chances of that? What are the chances of that? You ask me. No Time to Die then on the rising day of 11/24, also known as Black Friday. It's a perfect 7 days. It's 2 years, 1 month, 16 days. The 1 month and 16 days is a 116, which is an upside down and backwards 9/11. It's 7 days, and it's 111 weeks, and it's 111,888 minutes. It's 21288% of a common year. How big is him going down on the 60-year anniversary of the JFK assassination? Speculation, whatever that was. Would they bust a clone's head open? I have no idea. October 8th, 2021, No Time to Die, release date, to the rising day on Black Friday. Frigg Day. That, again, that's an Odin to Frigg connection. Death and rising. 7 days. I am so big on November 22nd. It is not even funny. Out of all the other stuff I've given you, I started to zero in on this. 11/22. Look at the hours right here. 4, 3, 8, 8, 8, 8. 438 and then 888 in succession. That is somebody close to me that I have that mathematical anomaly with, born 10/28/1973. That's how many hours old they will be. And that person, their birthday, 10 times 28 times 1973. 55244. When you times them by this year, you get the 1117 for Zechariah, followed by 586, followed by a 12. But look what's here, 175, where Mystery Babylon is in all capital letters, Revelation 17:5. So 1117 fused with Revelation 17:5, followed by an 86, followed by a 12. 86 what? 86 to 12? 86 to church. That's that person's number times this year. On 11/22, they will be 438,888 hours old. That's a big deal. The Hours movie, we're told to look at the hour. So I then wanted to bounce the Hours movie off The Hours movie released on Christmas Day, 2002. When you bounce that off our 11/22 date, 7637 days, but look at the months and days, 10/28, that person's birthday, 10/28. Look at the hours, 183, 288, 83 murder code, 288. It was just fuzzy, freaky math I was looking at, that's all. 186 in the hours, No Time to Die. No Time to Die to the 86ing day of 11/22 is 18600 hours. Look at the minutes, 1116. That's an upside down and backwards 911, 116. The seconds, 6696. The weeks, 110. How many stories of the twin Trumps? 110 stories apiece. And again, 7 days on the rising. That's how big all this is. Hours to No Time to Die. The movie The Hours to No Time to Die. Being that we just keep looking at the hours, well, let's look at the hours of the movie The Hours to No Time to Die. 164, 688. 688 is a reversing of the 88 being 86. It's a 68, which is a reversal of 86, which represents rising. 688, 164, 688 hours. How many days? 6862. Fascinating. 14641, Tenant Janice. Somebody very close to me. Born in 83, murder code on 10/22/1983 to this 11/22 date. The days are reversed forwards and backwards, just like the movie Tenet. 14641. So it's 14641 in either direction. To that 11/22 date. Tenet to No Time to Die, 900 perfect days. Christopher Nolan's Tenet to No Time to Die, a perfect 400 days. 9,600 hours. 576,000 in the minutes. 3456,000 seconds. $11.77 Rising Day Tenet. The movie Tenet to our potential rising day of Black Friday, you've got 11/7 fused with 77. It's 1177 days. 322 is also coded 3 years, 2 months, 21 days. 38 murder code is also coded 38 months, 21 days. This is a big, big, big deal. This 11/22. The day before Thanksgiving Eve is a high watch day. 9379. Our number on that day. A person born on 3/19 times 1998. They got the 138, the 88, and the 86ing of, all in their number. This person's also born at 8:08 a.m., but I can't prove that to you. Times that person's number times my number. It begins with 9379. She will be 9379 days old on this 11/22 date. Donald Trump will be 40 weeks old on that day. So 404 in the weeks for Revelation. 404, 40 weeks and 5 days. So this is also a hit on 11/17. But he will be 2885 days old. He will be 77 years, 5 months, 8 days, 7758. 58, number of bedrooms of Mar-a-Lago. 58, the number of stories, Trump Tower. If we put this on 1117, Trump is exactly 40 weeks old, 404, fused with 40. 40, gigantic number for God in the Bible, along with 404, the amount of verses in the book of Revelation. Trump will be 4040 weeks old exactly on 1117. He will be 28280 days old. So 28, 28280, 40, 40. 2828 404. Gigantic. Humongous. Look at all the two-way goes we have. Three-way goes, four-way goes. Trump will be 28288 days old on his rising, if you include both dates. Oh, excuse me, rising for Black Friday. If he goes down on the eve of Thanksgiving, on JFK's 60th anniversary assassination date, if you include both dates, he would go down on 28286. He would rise on 28288. When you include both dates. Gigantic. (3/11, 2022). Do y'all remember why we looked at that date? 88 weeks and 5 days on 11/22. If we run that to 11/17, it would be exactly 88 weeks. So from 3/11, 2022, remember Trump and I's combined number, this person turned the first 5 digits of Trump and I's combined number on that day of 3/11, 2022, and I turned the next 5 digits. Let's go ahead and show you. Trump's number, it's 6 times 14 times 1946. His number is 163,464. My number is 82362. This person turned the first 5, that many days old on 3/11. 33 days later, I turned that many days old, the next 5 digits. There's a 322 directly in the middle of Trump and I's combined number. 1968, the double assassination year of RFK and MLK. All fake, all stage stuff, we know. But if you run that 3/11/2022 date to 11/17, it is a perfect 88 weeks. And don't forget, Trump is a perfect 40 weeks. 88 fused with 404, the number of verses of Revelation. It is so big, this 11/17. We've already discussed Maggie Gyllenhaal representing Eve. Her birthday is the day before or the eve of this potential gigantic event. If he goes down on Friday, folks, just hang on. That's all I can tell you. November 22nd, in Gematria comes to John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. What are the chances? Well, surely they wanted us all to recognize this date. Why did they want us to recognize this date? Is this the date that the deadly wound would take place? John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. Look at the searches the AI made it. 1207. Well, 12076 is Adam in Strauss Concordance, 120 in the Hebrew Old Testament, 76 in the Greek New Testament. It's the perfect fusion of 120, 76. And how many searches did they give you? 1207. You're only lacking the 6 for having Adam all the way across, Old and New Testament. along with Russia, all kind of other crazy stuff that we've seen before. One, 4, 8, 6, 6. Hang on just a second. Let me take a look at this. Okay. So we're looking big at 1122. What it is that whenever I first got married, again, 3 times 12, 1983, it's got the 138 and the 88 in the day number. You run that wedding, if you add, let's just do this. Let's just do count days. Run it to the 22nd and include both dates. 14866. Well, 148 is Donald J. Trump and Simple Gematria. Fused with the 86, ending with the fusion of 66, 14866. Well, 66 books. The 66th book of the Bible is the book of Revelation, which 148 is the star of, but he has to be 86 to get it. That is including both dates. But again, it's perfect. If you don't include both dates, it's 14886 anyway, with a 5. 488 is still there in the months. And then it would make the rising day 14867. So no matter how you slice it, it all continues to be big. Transfer portal of time. This goes to leap day. Quantum leap day portal style. If you run the transfer portal of time, it goes all the way back to leap day of 2020. 681 days. When you run it forward through the transfer portal of time, which is Janus Tenet, or January 10th, 2022. When you run it forward 681 days, it lands on November 22nd, 2023. So the JFK 60-year anniversary portals over to leap day, quantum leap day, 2020, February 29th, leap day of the year 2020. I cannot even begin to tell you how ridiculously crazy that is. Now do y'all see why we're looking gigantic? So how do I rank them? How would I rank all of this stuff? How would I rank it? At the 43838 time. Sorry, the phone rang. I would go November 17th. Well, it rang while I was prepping this. I would probably still go with 11/17 first because of this Maggie Gyllenhaal situation. And going down on a Friday to mimic Jesus. That's one. My second biggest date, I want to go with December 16th. Third biggest date, I want to go with this November 22nd. After that, I think I really need to start looking at, there's big dates in January. But in and or around that Super Bowl, I mean, one thing we looked at today was February 10th. That was a big deal, wasn't it? Finally. This one didn't give me the... There it goes. It's better looking when it's like that, isn't it? bet you I didn't do it right, did I? There it goes. You have to hit space bar. These are big deals, man. We're also looking at that March 25th range. And of course, the lunar eclipse that makes X cross America and all that kind of stuff. But, oh, and don't forget how we're looking strongly at March 18th. A lot of stuff, but I would say be looking at November 17th, 11/7, excuse me, 11/17, of course. December 16th, the perfect fusion of 121 and 216. November 22nd, JFK's 60th anniversary. And it's also on a Wednesday, which is big. I mean, tomorrow could be the day. It's Maggie Gyllenhaal's birthday, for goodness sake. That alone could be the reason. The joke would be it's the day before 11/17. And then rising on 11/18. 18. Yay, they get their 18 in there. 6 plus 6 plus 6. I don't know. But this is how I'd rank it. November 17th, December 16th, November 22nd. Yeah, there's stuff in January. Of course there is. But I'll probably leap to February 10th, then March 25th, then March 18th, as far as things that are bigger than what so far that what I see in January. Now, January's big. A lot of stuff for January. But we'll get to that when the time comes. Love you.